What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Evan or Ev. Today's video is the pros of cons of being at MCTI or Michigan Career Technical Institute. So we're going to go over the pros and we're going to go over the cons. So we're going to go over to probably the pros. One cool thing about the school is we have like a gym where you can play basketball, you can lift weights, and we have like a bowling alley. Another thing about the school I like, they'll let you, let's say you're all done with class, they'll let you go whatever you want, as long as you're back to your dorm by 10 o'clock at their quiet hour, maybe not the weekends. There's some cool activities like the MCTI. At MCTI, you can go, during the weekends if you're not at school. You could, number one, you could go to the bowling alley, you can go to the movies, you can go to the mall, or you can go sledding or swimming on certain days after school's over. That's one other thing. The cons, I'm going to go over the cons. The people were not very friendly. Every time I said hey to somebody, they always pretended I was not there. That's one thing. Some of the staff was pretty rude. Like, some of the dorm staff was pretty rude and disrespectful when I was talking to them. Another thing was some students from, some of the culinary students, some of the automotive students, and other trades were ignoring me. And just, first of all, why are you ignoring me when I'm saying hey to you? But then I asked this other guy, why are some students pretend I'm not there? It's like, oh, it's their disability or whatever. Well, first of all, if it's a disability, it doesn't mean you have a disability. All it means is you're nice or mean. But if you're just ignoring me, that's just rude. But some of the students weren't friendly. They didn't have very good Wi-Fi, which is another con. The food was not very good. Didn't like the food. The food was very disgusting. So class for me was at 8 o'clock. So I went to bed every day at 10 o'clock every single day. So the trade I did was the ground maintenance program. So I went to bed at 10 o'clock. I got up at 6 a.m. because I ate breakfast at 7, and I went to class from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock every single day. I did the ground maintenance program. I'll get to a second about how I felt about my instructor, Chris. But yeah, it was pretty cool at MCTI. I've made some new friends, but unfortunately, a lot of people there were just pretending like I wasn't there. Like, people were kind of rude to me. Some of them were pretty rude. I think it was a decent amount of people. Some of them were nice, but a decent amount of them were kind of rude. That's one thing. Another positive thing about MCTI, you can get a job there. When you're how it works is, some trades are there's some trades are 2 terms, some trades are 3, 4, 5, 6. It depends on what trade you're doing. But when I was at the ground maintenance class, I had a part-time job there. I worked every day in the kitchen. I worked in the kitchen, So I worked in the kitchen there every day. So I'll explain that. So when I was a first termer, I didn't have a job, I didn't have a job when I was a first termer. So what I did in the grounds class, what we did, we learned how to use zero-turn mowers. We learned how to put a trimmer spool together. Another thing is we learned how to use blowers, backpack blowers. We mulched and everything. That's what we did in the ground maintenance program. And then we learned how to back up the gator, which the gator was hard. And then another thing we did snow removal and stuff. And then the second term, we learned how to do snow removal. We did pesticides. We learned how to use pesticides, and then we learned back up the gator. And then I think after that, after that I went home. So basically, the 5th week, my class ended early because, unfortunately, our ground maintenance instructor, Chris, retired in the middle of the term. If Chris didn't retire, then I would have been at MCTI a full 10 weeks. But yeah, there were people, but yeah, so then we learned pesticides. And another thing I didn't like about MCTI was my instructor was kind of crabby, and he was just very crabby, very ornery, and he was just crabby, I will admit. I did not like him, And yeah, that was one thing about another con. Was my grounds teacher was just crabby and ornery. And every time I asked him for help, and he just got mad, and that's not good. Like, if you're a teacher at a school like MCTI or the Michigan Career Technical Institute, that school is supposed to help people with disabilities, but if you're literally going to be rude about it, then you shouldn't be teaching at that school. And that's another con I will talk about. Another con I will mention is some of the leisure staff was pretty rude. I will admit, some of the leisure staff was pretty rude. Like, this dude, he was tall, he had like red hair, he was pretty nice. He was pretty cool, but this other lady, she was not very nice. Some of the other staff was crabby. It's just, I'm so glad. I'm glad I went there, but now I heard things got worse over there. I'm so glad I don't go there anymore because some people were crabby, I will admit, but it's just life, but I did have some friends and stuff, but there were a couple people in my grounds class. They were kind of rude and crabby, but it is what it is. You're going to run into some nice and mean people wherever you go. But I will admit, when I was at MCTI, because but now ground maintenance is gone. They no longer have grounds. When I was at MCTI at the CAS, they used to have construction, but they don't have anymore. So when I was there in the end of 2024, so here are the trades, but they don't have grounds anymore because it's not their website. So the trades they had when I was there, they had culinary, IT, automotive, custodial, pharmacy tech, retail marketing, grounds, cabinet making, machine tech. Oh, I'm trying to think of some other trades. CNA. They had one more. Oh. Industrial electronics. That's the trades they had when I was there. Because now our instructor retired, they no longer have grounds. Now they have 10 trades, which is kind of weird. They got rid of grounds because for some reason when I was graduating at MCTI, when I got my my thing, apparently the lady, like the head of the school, said we're no longer doing that program, which in my opinion, I think they should keep that program because let's say you don't get a high math score, but your scores are pretty low, like 1s or 2s or maybe a 3. That's why grounds is a good trade in case because grounds doesn't require a lot of math, which sucks. They got rid of it, and I don't think they should have, and that's MCTI's fault. But yeah, I've made some friends and stuff, and unfortunately, some students got kicked out for doing some bad choices. I'm not going to say what they did, but I think one got kicked out for tardies, and another thing got kicked out for something. I don't remember, but I'm glad I'm glad I had a good time there, but I'm glad I'm not there anymore just because, I don't know, some of the people were kind of weird. Not all, but some. But yeah. Just, yeah. But anyways, MCTI is in Plainwell, Michigan. It's like in the middle of nowhere. So it's a very rural area. Once you, like I said, like Kroger, Meijer, Walmart, everything, it's like 10 or 15 minutes away. I'm so glad that's what it was. There was grocery stores are far. It was like 10 or 15 minutes. Then it was so rural. That's one thing I didn't understand. That's one thing about MCTI. It was so rural. And another thing I will mention, I don't know why things are so far away, but it's the middle of nowhere. But one thing is, they don't have a pool, which is one thing. They say they've been trying to fix the pool, but they literally have been saying that for years and years, and they have not fixed it at all. So, yeah. So how I heard about MCTI was my teacher, Miss Smith, in 2019. So when I was going to trade school in 2019, my teacher, Miss Smith, was telling me about this school. So that's how I heard about it. But anyways, they have apartments near there and this and that. But yeah, that's my experience at MCTI. Those are my experience I've shared. But another experience I will talk about, I don't know. It was pretty cool, but I don't know. The air conditioning wasn't very good. Their food was not good. Was not very good. The only food was good was pine cone, but that was it. They had ice cream and stuff, but yeah. I'm so glad I'm out of there. I'd rather just chill now. I'm looking for a grounds job. Still working on that, but peace out, guys.